Hi, I'm Sharma Amit Kumar. I'm second year medical student. Can you know your name?
Yeah, please.
How are you?
Fine.
Today I will perform cranial nerve examination. Is it okay?
Okay.
Cranial nerve olfactory test the sense of smell by presenting the patient with familiar non-irritating odors. First, make sure that each nasal passage is present by compressing one side of the nose and asking the patient to sniff through the odor. Then ask the patient to close both eyes, occlude one nostril, and test smell in the other with substance like cloves, coffee, soap, or vanilla. Avoid noxious odor like ammonia that might stimulate cranial nerve. Fifth, ask the patient to identify each odor. Test smell on the other side. Normally, the patient perceives odor on each side and identifies them correctly. To test the acuity of central vision, use a well-lit Snellen eye chart. If possible, position the patient 20 feet from the chart. Patient who wear glasses other than for reading should put them on. Ask the patient to cover one eye with the card to prevent looking through the finger and to read the smallest line of print possible. Coaxing, coaxing to attempt the next line may improve performance. A patient who cannot read the largest letter should be positioned closer to the chart. Note the interviewing distance. Identify the smallest line of print. Where the patient can identify more than half the letter, record the visual acuity designated at the side of this line, along with use of glasses. If any visual acuity is expressed to number, the first indicates the distance of the patient from the chart, and the second the distance at which a normal eye can read the line of the letter. Testing near vision with a handheld card can help identify the need of reading glasses of bifocal in patient older than 45 years. You can also use this card to test visual acuity at the bedside. Held 14 inch from the patient eye, the card will test simulate a Snellen chart. If you have no chart, screen visual acuity with any available print. If print cannot read even the largest letter, test their ability to count your up the distinguish light from such as your flashlight from dark. Inspect the size and shape of the pupil and compare one side with the other. Any anisocoria sore or a difference of more than zero point 0.4 manometer in the diameter of one pupil compared to the other is seen in up to 38% of healthy individuals. Test the pupillary reaction to light. Also check the near response which test pupillary constrictor muscles, conversion medial rectus muscles, medial rectus muscles, and accommodation of the lens. Test the extraocular movement in the six cardinal direction of gaze and look for loss of conjugate movement in any of six directions which cause diplopia. Check convergence of the eyes. Identify any nystagmus in involuntary jerking movement of the eye with quick and slow component. Note the direction of gaze in which it appears the plane of nystagmus. Look for ptosis. A slight difference in width of the palpebral fissure is a normal variant in approximately one third of patients. While palpating the Temporal and masseter muscle in turn ask the patient to firmly clench the teeth. Note the strength of muscle contraction. Ask the patient to open and move to the from side to side. After explaining what you plan to do, test the forehead, cheeks, and chin or each side for pain sensation in the circle area. The patient eyes should be closed. Use a suitable sharp object such as a pin or cotton swab. You can create a sharp wood splinter by breaking or twisting a cotton swab to avoid transmitting infection. Use a new object for each patient. While testing, occasionally substitute the blunt end of 4-point as a contrasting stimulus. Ask the patient to report whether each stimulus is a sharp or dull and to compare side. Corneal reflex. Test the corneal reflex. Ask the patient to look up and away from you and approach from the opposite side out of the patient line of vision, avoiding the eyelashes. Lightly touch the cornea, not just a conjunctiva with a fine wisp of cotton. If you a patient apprehensive, touching the conjunctiva first may be helpful. Inspect for blinking of both eyes and normal reaction to stimulus. The sensory limb of the reflex is carried in CN cranial fifth and motor response in cranial seventh on both sides. Contact lens interface with
Raise both
stress.
eyebrows, frown, close both eyes tightly so that you cannot open them. Test muscular strength by trying to open them. Show both upper and lower teeth. Smile. Inspect the face both or rest and during conversation with the patient.
Assess with the whispered voice test. Ask the patient to repeat number whispered into one ear while blocking or rubbing your finger next to the contralateral ear. The whispered voice test is both sensitive when assessing presence or absence of hearing loss. If hearing loss is present, determine if the loss is conductive from impaired air through ear transmission or sensorineural from damage to cochlear branch of cranial nerve. At test for air and bone conduction using the Rene test and lateralizing using the Weiber test. Listen to the patient voice. Is it a hoarse or does it have a nasal quality? Is there difficulty in swallowing? Ask the patient to say ah or yawn as you watch the movement of the soft palate and the pharynx. The soft palate normally rises symmetrically. The uvula remain in the midline. Each side of the posterior pharynx move medially like a curtain. The slightly curved uvula seen occasionally as a normal variation should not be mistaken for a uvula deviated by lesions cranial nerve 9th or 10th. Warn the patient that you are going to test the gag reflex, which some patient may refuse. This reflex consists of elevation of the tongue and soft palate and constriction of the pharyngeal muscle. Stimulate of the back of the throat lightly on each side.
Standing behind the
gag
patient,
reflex
look for
atrophy
atrophy
for fasciculation in the trapezius muscle and compare one side with the other. Fasciculation are fine, flickering, irregular movement in a small group of muscles fiber. Ask the patient to shrug both shoulder upward against your hand. Note the strength and contraction of the trapezius. Ask the patient to turn his or her head or each side against your hand. Observe the contraction of the opposite sternocleidomastoid muscles and note for French the movement against your hand. Listen to the articulation of patient words. This depends on cranial nerve 5th, 7th, 9th and 10th as well as 12th. Inspect the patient tongue as it lies on the floor of the mouth. Look for any atrophy or fasciculations.